Hello, Eric. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hello, Eric. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hello, Eric. Here we go. Here we go. Hello, Eric. Here we go. Here we go. Hello, Eric. Hi, Chantal.
Hey.
Oh, good, it worked. I was getting an echo earlier on YouTube. It's streaming on YouTube right now, so I was double checking when I was getting this ridiculous echo. Okay. Is that Sassy I hear?
Yeah.
Hi, Sassy.
Oh, if you engage her, she won't stop.
Oh, my bad. Okay, so. Hello, Eric.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, there you are. Hi, how are you?
Sorry, I'm not sure. I have a different screen here that I'm used to for most of my Zoom meetings, so I'm having a hard time kind of working my way through this. Are we still waiting for this to start?
It looks like we got a few latecomers.
Okay.
Yeah, so take your time, no worries. I had a couple of little tweaks to figure out myself.
I normally see, everybody who's joining in little windows on the right-hand side here. It's just a different screen than what I'm used to, but that's okay. It all works, right?
Oh, I see. Okay. Absolutely. Well, right now there's only the three of us here.
That's
so
not a good sign.
happens.
How many of us are there supposed to be?
Actually 5 registrants other than the office staff.
Really? That's
Yeah,
kind of surprising, isn't it?
I'm a little surprised, a little disappointed, but at the same time, I understand that a lot of people are busy right now. I'm, a lot of people standing in testing lines and trying to work and get their kids to school, or whatever happens to be going on in their lives at the time. Just I think everybody's focus is on more immediate concerns than award boundary review, right? So it is what it is, and actually we're streaming it to YouTube, so they can check it a little bit later as well.
You seem to be breaking up a little bit too. And freezing.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Hmm.
Is that your kitty cat in the background?
No, that's mine.
Oh.
I'm Chantel,
Hi,
also from the
Chantal.
office.
Is Rachel also kind of breaking up and freezing for you too?
No, I can see Rachel.
Am I freezing?
I don't think so.
Not
Okay.
on my end.
Okay, Sam. Okay. Normally I would see myself breaking up if that was the case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I really like the Zoom function. It tells you what's going on.
Hmm.
Good morning, Sam.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. I was looking forward to seeing your hair.
Oh my God. I'm like,
That
every meeting, I'm like not cute. Like, I'll show you my hair in person.
Okay, sounds good.
I think the camera's disabled.
Hi, Brian.
Rachel.
Pardon?
The video's disabled for participants.
Oh, I can see Rachel.
Oh, really?
For participants, it is.
Yeah, you guys.
No.
Is it? Oh, okay. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Participants. Okay, what? Well, I think I can. There we go. I added Eric as a participant or a panelist rather.
There we go.
Yeah, that's better.
This is better. Now I can see anybody whose video is on, and you seem to be the only one right now. Anybody
I
whose
put some
video
effort into it.
unable to start video because
Yeah.
the host has stopped it.
Oh, okay. So that's a setting then. Okay.
Yeah, my video is not on, but when I try and turn it on, it says unable to start video. You can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
Oh yeah, that's what
Yeah.
she's saying.
Okay. Okay, so everybody is so far is in the panelists, and they can add up to about 50 panelists. So I think we're okay. Hi, Brian.
Hello,
Hi, thanks for joining us today.
my pleasure.
Where are you coming in from?
Rachel, I have a message at the top of my screen that says your network bandwidth is low. I'm not sure what that means. or how-
Oh, okay.
Is it for
That would
your
be your
computer? I
bandwidth as
don't
well.
see that. Yeah, I think that might be your computer.
Mine?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you sharing with the household?
Nope, just me.
Just you. Oh,
Just me.
maybe something else is on or the networks are
Maybe your
overloaded,
neighbor is
know.
using your internet.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, who are we waiting for? Let's give it another 3 minutes, and then I guess what we can do is we can start. Now I've put together a presentation to kind of go over all the information that we have so far. And while I was doing my research, I noticed that a lot of the information out there was rather convoluted. There was just so much of it to filter through. And a lot of it was just kind of sorting through what was ward specific versus overall throughout the entire city. Because at the end of the day, what we're really concerned about is what affects us directly and who our neighbors are going to be. When it comes to ward boundaries, who your next door neighbor is usually isn't an issue, but it does pose an interesting, I guess, viewpoint of representation and just a different interaction, I guess, between and their ward or the constituents in their wards. So yeah, in a minute. And anyway, none of that. I mean, it's easier to see what the differences of the options are if they're compared side by side to what is, what things look like right now. So in my presentation, you will also see a map color coded, and it'll be side by side comparison. So it'll be easy to see and understand. Bear with me 1 second. Unfortunately, Councillor will not be able to join us today. He is a little bit unwell. So what we will do, as mentioned, is now 10 after 11, so I will begin the presentation. Now, first time I've done this, so bear with me. All right, can everybody see it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep, I
okay,
can
great.
see it.
Fantastic, perfect. What the heck is this? There we go, okay. So title page, welcome to College Ward 8, and this is our ward boundary review consultation for 2020. One of the first questions that we are asked is, why are we reviewing boundaries? Now, in June 2019, City Council directed city staff to retain an independent consultant to conduct a comprehensive review of the City of Ottawa's ward boundaries. Review is meant to establish boundaries that that can be used for at least the next 12 years, 3 terms of municipal representation. So basically through the terms of 2022, 2026, and 2030. It's also worthy of note that the last major review of Ottawa's ward boundaries occurred in 2004 and it was completed in 2005. Now, the population of Ottawa in 2006 was 312,129 individuals, It's grown to an estimated 1,095,134 by the end of 2019. Our growth rate right now is at approximately 5% each term, and the majority of this growth is attributed to suburban areas outside of the Greenbelt. And we've seen that in just the increase of planning applications, particularly Barrhaven, Canada North, Stittsville, Cumberland, and Gloucester South and Nepean, which is the area known as Riverside South, basically. The goal of this review is to achieve effective representation as established by the Supreme Court of Canada. And what they mean by effective representation is that one person's vote would carry the similar weight of another person's vote. So each vote, say in Barrhaven, would carry the same weight in College Ward. Now, the criteria. First criteria is the voter parity, as basically the ward populations would be similar, but not necessarily identical, and they should be within the range of 10 to 15% of the average ward population. And we will get to the average ward goal a little later on in the presentation. Now, larger percentage variations are possible, but it's usually in exceptional circumstances such as Ottawa's functioning rural community. Excuse me. Now, next up is natural and physical boundaries. The ward boundaries need to be recognizable. The natural boundaries like the rivers and the Greenbelt, and physical boundaries such as highways and railways and arterial roads, as well as a hydro corridor. Geographic communities of interest is another one. Such as Lee or a village are commercial areas, and other commercial areas, of course, such as Byward Market or College Square, are considered to be communities of interest. When realigning the ward boundaries, geographically contiguous communities of interest should not be divided unless they are so large that they must be split to achieve voter parity, which makes complete sense. I mean, if you look ahead at Byward Market, for example, it's not only the small core piece right at the beginning of George Street, New York Street, right in front of the community of the Rideau Center. It encompasses a larger part of it, including farther down where the steps are beside the United States Embassy. So areas like that should not be split up. Another piece of the criteria is minority interests, and they should be considered they are geographically based. Ward history is another. The design should be wherever possible considered within the ward. However, the ward history itself cannot override other major criteria such as voter parity, drawing natural physical boundaries, and communities of interest. One example can be seen in the boundaries of wards 8 and 9. For example, both wards 8 and 9, the College Ward and Councillor Eglei's ward, which is Maryville-Knoxdale, is all formerly part of the city of Nepean. However, they were split, and you can see that especially right down Maryville Road. So we have one side, west side of Maryville Road is Ward 8, east side of Maryville Road is Ward 9. Next part of the criteria is capacity to represent. This is one of the big ones. Capacity to represent is often equated with the councillor's workload. It includes matters such as ward size, types, and complexity of issues, ongoing growth and development, etc., and has to be taken into consideration when designing wards. That's pretty self-explanatory itself. Next is the geographic size and shape of a ward. Now, all wards cannot be the same geographic size. Some areas of the city are more densely populated than others, and some wards have more open space. Ottawa is especially unique with respect to this component of effective representation because of its large rural area. This is the case with the western portion of Ward 8 beyond Highway 416. And again, I will point that out a little later on in the presentation when we get to the maps. Next, after that is population growth. The projected population of 2026 is a baseline that is being used to evaluate what effective representation might look like in each option presented. This allows for Ottawa's expected growth to be factored into ward boundary calculations. Balancing the components of effective representation. While all components are of effective representation must be taken into consideration, they are not all equal. Voter parity, respected communities of interest, and well-defined reasonable ward boundaries are the most important components. Now, a little bit about the consultants leading. There was a team put together, and the former team, Beatty, I guess how you pronounce it, and Valron, and Dr. Gary Davidson, indicated here on the slide, they both performed the previous ward boundary review back in 2005, and I've just included a little bit of their background in here as well. And this year they've also added Russell Matthew and from Hemson Consulting Limited. I don't know if I've noted it here, but he is a partner in the firm. He has 30 years of a professional planning experience and is known for his expertise in areas of demographic and economic forecasting and land economics. And because of that, he is responsible for our population projections, which have been used for the alignment suggestions. Okay, a little bit about a ward. I could have gone on forever about this one, but before the 2006 election, known as baseline ward, and it did not include Bell's Corners nor the entirety of Crestview. Now, for my research, I could not find if it was just part of Crestview that was not in Ward 8, or if it was all of Crestview that was not important, part of Ward 8. But from what I can see from the quick review I did on that section, it did appear that was only half that was split. By 2011, College Ward was home to 50,795 residents. And the 2020 background report, which is used to this review, indicated that our population in 2018 was 51,829. Most currently, in 2019 showed our population to have grown to be 51,914 individuals, which is an increase of 85. So 85 additional people moved into our ward, have become of age to be counted within that year. Okay, so here's the fun part. Now, these are the current boundaries, and it's, as you can see, it's all color coded, and I did that on purpose because it makes it a lot easier to see. I'm going to zoom here if I can. I might not be. Can everybody see that? Is it too small?
I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it too.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
from here.
okay. Okay, great. So this is the first comparison. This is option 1, and they wanted to add 2 more wards to the city up from 23. Now, what you can see is pretty self-explanatory. And as I noted right here, that where the other pieces such as Copeland Park would be cut off from, excuse me, Ward 8, which is currently in the ward, well, sorry, which is currently here. It'll be cut off and be delegated into Ward 22. And actually just double check that here, Ward 22. Oh, darn it. Okay, well, I can't answer that question off the top of my head right now. And but the Crestview, which is a sizable chunk out of the bottom corner on the right here, would become part of 23. So it would be split in 3 ways. However, they are smaller areas, smaller portions. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. So this we were talking about earlier, the average population, ward population. This is 46,000 is the goal for the average. So it could be up a little higher, up a little bit lower. Room to move around there. It's 10 to 15% wiggle room, give or take. And 2026 is their goal election period, or yeah, sorry, I'm having a bit of a brain fart here, bear with me. Option 1, this is a population forecast. And 2026, there's our goal. And with option 1, without Copeland Park, unfortunately, or Crestview, we're looking at a population of 49,910, which is an increase of 8.5% of what it would be now. That's how if I understand it correctly. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure I'm explaining it in a way that everybody understands.
No, I get it.
Okay, so we will, yeah. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next one then. Option 2. Again, not much difference. The ward numbers have changed for Copeland Park and Crestview in option 2, but other than that, stays the same. And it looks like the numbers themselves are exactly the same. No, slightly the same. There is a minor difference, however, in the variance. And I don't know why that is. That makes no sense to me, but okay. Let's see here. So option 3. Now here we see a large difference. Right here is the 416. So everything west of the 416 that is currently our I don't know, what do they say, workable, or sorry, functional rural area land. Well, so all of the stuff here that would be removed and would be relocated to Ward 23, which would become Bay Ward. That's it. What is known as Bay Ward right now. And Copeland Park additionally would be continuing to be part of, I believe, River Ward as it is now. So for a population change for that would be quite significant. So we're looking at 53,566, which is a variation at 7.1%. Now, if we look back, we can see the difference here, 49,910 population. So on to option 4. Now this option, again, removes all of the rural area beyond on the outside of 416, as well as removing Qualcomm Grand Park and Morrison Gardens. and they would be relocated to what is now, Bay Ward, which is Ward 7. However, Copeland Park would be staying with Ward 8, as we know it. We'll just flip over to, does anybody have any questions so far?
Nope, not so far.
No? Okay. Good. That means it's self-explanatory. I like it. Okay, so this next set right here, there we go. This next population forecast for that particular option is by 55,789 persons. So it would give us an increase in the population. It's 11.6% in 2026. And that target year would be 50,000. So fairly close, a little higher on the average side, but again, I mean, it is an average. So option 5. Okay, this one's a little coded a little bit differently because it's split into 3. Actually, it's split into 4. So again, option 5, west of the 416 would be reallocated to another ward. That would be Ward 17, but again, it would be encompassed with Bay Ward. Ward 16, that would be what they'd be proposing, be Ward 8. So this upper corner up here, again, Copeland Park would be reallocated to what is now Councillor Eglai's ward over here, or no, is that Councillor Brockington's area over here?
Which one, sorry?
Chantal?
Which one?
Can you see my cursor, my arrow? Just on the other side of Copeland Park. Can you see that?
No, I'm not seeing it.
I don't think we can see your arrow.
No? Okay.
I can see it.
Yeah, okay.
Oh.
That's odd.
Someone's going to
That's
Yeah, I think
okay.
it might-
That's okay. Hmm?
Yeah, that might be Councillor Brockington's.
Okay, so that's where, okay, so Copeland Park would be reallocated to where Councillor Brockington's area is now then. That's River.
Carlington area is Councillor Brockington's.
That's right. Okay. I'm just making sure. Thank you.
Had to think for a minute.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. It's early on a Wednesday. No, wait, today's Thursday. Oops. Okay, I think I need more coffee. Okay, so this section here, so Ryan Farms, City View, and Crestview would be reallocated actually into what is now known as Maryville Knoxdale area as well, which is currently covered by Councillor Eglai. So all those little light blue coloring is what Ward 8 would be if we chose option 5. Now the population forecast target year is 67,600. And we would actually come under by 14.8% at 57,925 people. So we would be underrepresented or overrepresented rather in the grand scheme. So option 6, this was the most recent addition as requested at the last, I believe it was in July. So this is option 6, and as you can see, there is no change. And I see where my notations were wrong. Now, and the forecast as it is right now would be 53,966, which is therefore saying, looking at the variance at 12.7%. which actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm not quite so sure about that, but we can review that later if somebody wishes to do so. We can definitely do that. So our next steps in this whole process would be to see through to the end, or see to the end rather, this round of virtual consultations and meetings. And right now we are in round 2. One of the ways that residents are invited to participate and, you know, offer what they think they would like to see happen with their ward boundaries is going to engage.ottawa.ca and register and state your preference there, or you can just simply send an email to wardboundary@ottawa.ca. When you are using the Engage Ottawa platform, they highly suggest that you register. And the comment period closes at midnight on September 25th, which is tomorrow. So it'll give you a little bit of time to think about it. And finance, as we call it, are expected to consider recommendations for implementation upon the 2022 municipal election. Okay, and last slide. Thank you for listening to me drone on. And I just want to hear some questions. Does anybody have any, or does anybody have any comments?
I have a couple questions. Now, I noticed there's a fair difference in some of the options in terms of the number of wards.
Yes.
I don't think there's a huge difference in terms of population, because I think the population growth is only supposed to be what, 5% per term, right?
Correct. Yes.
So I don't know, it seems to me like status quo would be the easiest option. And I know that there are other options when determining a ward, but can I assume that there would have to be some significant changes in some of those criteria in order for, you know, there to be big changes in the ward boundary? Am I thinking that through correctly?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you, and I'm feeling the same way, to be honest. Right now, as I noted earlier, we're going to bring it back, is that the majority of the growth is in the more suburban areas, as they have room to grow outwards, because there's a lot of infill happening, but can only handle so much. Our infrastructure can only hold so much. So that's why we had the urban boundary question, right? And that's where the majority of the growth is going to happen. And that's the reason why we're having this ward boundary review, because they need to restructure everything so everybody has the right amount of representation. That's the big thing, right? And as we are right now, from some of the numbers I did see, it looked like our population growth was very, very low. As I noted one of the other sections, oh, here we are on our ward, our population grew to 85 people in 1 year, which is not a lot, considering we're also the college ward and we do have people coming and going because it's a college, right? People move here and then they leave. So we do have a lot of fluctuation, and we also do have a lot of retirees as well. So it's hard to say. We're always in flux. So I think you're on the right track. I don't know if that helps, but did it help answer your question, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to add to what Rachel was saying that between 2011 and 2019, the population of College Ward has grown by about like less than 1,200. So that's only 2.2% in 9 years.
Mhm.
So compared to some of the wards like Barhaven, where there's exponential growth over the last 9 years, so some of those wards are definitely growing at a much higher rate in population because of, you know, they have room to grow, and there's been a lot of development. College Ward hasn't had as much of that, so there's a lot more need for maybe a different split in representation in those wards than there is in College Ward.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I get you. It doesn't seem like a whole lot of growth at all. I'm actually quite shocked. But now that you mention it, I can't think really of a whole lot of high density building that's gone on in this ward either. So
Mhm.
it makes sense. I guess the change in the urban boundary probably has something to do with some of the options as well, right?
You would think so, yes. Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah,
Just
it's the way
to,
they're redistributing.
So
to comment on what I think Eric was saying, I don't see in any of the background documentation nor here anything that says that an analysis was done to demonstrate a need for the change. It's a pretty easy analysis to look at what are the large differences between the population that's expected in 2026 and its distribution across the wards compared to what that distribution is today. And with that kind of analysis, you'd be able to say, well, we're going to go through all of this effort and all of this disruption in order to account for 10% population growth that's higher out in the suburban ridings. I mean, the basic thing that's not in any of the rules here, yeah, not rules, but guidelines, is that as a first guideline, you want to keep it simple and change it as little as possible. And I almost see that you could get into a cycle every 10 years, changing little niggly parts of ward boundaries. And some people would never know what ward they were in. And that doesn't help to support the creation of communities and neighborhoods and even political knowledge of who my counselor is because I know the name of my ward.
Yeah.
And so that should be like a first criteria. If we need to do it, these big criteria have to be met first.
Mhm. I'm just wondering if about the timing. I think part of it was due to the need to find a new Cumberland counselor. And Cumberland is growing and it is going to need more representation. And I think that's a big part of it. If you would like, we can send you some background on it. A lot of this information that I put together here came from the original backgrounder document rather, that was put out by the consultation team. If you like, we can send you that information.
Sure, that would be great.
Yeah, okay, for sure. Can you drop us an email specifying exactly what you want and I'll gather all that for you?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so as it stands, option 6 would keep College Ward, I believe, the same as it is now. There would be some more changes to the outlying wards, like more of the rural and Barhaven, which has grown to an extent where it's much bigger than most wards in population. I think that's where like those wards that are kind of more south and west are where the majority of the expansions have been.
Mhm.
And I think that's where the biggest need is for the change in ward boundaries rather than
Yeah.
the inner part of the city.
Yeah, well, that's it. Well, that's just it. I mean, we have so much growth on the outside that we do need to accommodate for all those people as well. And those counselors who have those wards are having increasing workloads.
Yeah.
And their need, and their needs to maintain, the ongoing projects that they're doing. Plus, they're going to have new projects onboarding. So we need additional staff, and it's just easier for people to make sure that they have a counselor that can focus on those needs. And I think that's a big part of it too, because more space, more development, and those development projects are a very, very big part of a counselor's workload.
Do the counselors have, the counselors must have some say in changes, because I suspect they have a pretty good handle on where the support comes from in their ward, and they would push back if they're going to lose a big chunk of their ward where they're getting.
Yeah. Maybe could have. Share.
I guess the other thing too is, do we know whether the city has any plans to change the number of wards intentionally for any reason?
No, it's not a decision made lightly. It really, really isn't, because there's a lot of work involved. So let's go back to the first part of your question now. Turn it.
Yeah, there's regulations that guide this according to the Supreme Court regulations for effective representation as well. So it's not just a city decision that bases this.
No, well, that's just it. We were kind of we're mandated to do it. Like the urban boundary review, that was mandated by the government of Ontario. So it's one of those things. Generally, the city does not want to interfere, or even, I don't know if it, I'm trying. I don't know what I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm just not sure how to say it. The city must adhere to these regulations put forth by the Supreme Court of Canada or the province or by federal government. And making changes of this magnitude without that guidance would not be in their best interest. So let's see here. There was another part to your question I wanted to answer, and of course I'm lost now.
So another comment that I wanted to make too is that there, in the options, if I'm not mistaken, I did see one of the options was it 25 words, and then one of the other options was 17. That's a huge difference in the number of words. It's almost like such a big swing that I can see complete chaos if there was that much of a change in the words.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. I mean, how do you balance reputation? The workloads are going to be insane.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. and maybe not most politically correct thing, but there's a thing going on YouTube. But yeah, I can't imagine anybody wanting to take that on. I mean, you're going to need additional staff. I mean, you're looking at, yeah, if you're going from 23, what we have now, down to 17, there'd be almost no point, because even if there were that many less counselors, you still need to retain all of their staff and relocate them to another counselor, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
You know, so
The workload doesn't change because you still have as many constituents and requests. Just because the boundaries change, the workload doesn't change. The amount of representation needed, it just means that there's a lot more work in each counselor's office.
well, that's just it. And you can only fit so many bodies in each office.
Yeah.
So instead of having, you know, the ward office and city hall, you also would have to have a third. You know, so if they're thinking about the cost effectiveness of something like that, it would not be. It would be a moot point. And actually rather detrimental. It really would. And it doesn't change the fact that the growth in the outlying areas needs to be addressed, and they need to be in, whoever moves into those areas that are being developed, they're going to need representation as new residents. Either way, they still need their representation as directed and as is their right.
So the public has until tomorrow
Yeah.
to submit any feedback. What happens after that? And do you know what the timeline is in terms of when they're going to finalize this?
Well, it's going to FEDCO, which is the Economic and Development Committee, and City Council. So they'll go both of them in December. And whatever is decided and will be enacted or put into place for 2022 at the next municipal election.
Okay, I think that's all the questions I had. Is it possible to get a copy of this presentation?
Of course. Yep, absolutely.
And how do I do that? Do I put my email in chat, or do you want me to send you an email? What's the easiest way?
Well, you can send me an email, and I also have your email from your registration. So it's entirely your preference.
Okay, if you have my email already, then that's good.
Okay, not a problem. Anybody else have any thoughts they want to share?
No,
Yeah. Okay. All right. That was a good discussion.
Good discussion, good presentation. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and I'm glad you were able to make it today. All right. So I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Great, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Thanks, you as well.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.